I just brought the Jeep home and I wanted to start working on it, but unfortunately our daily driver developed some weird noise in the front left hub, so we're gonna have to deal with that before we can get onto the Jeep. I was like 5 kilometers away from home when I started hearing it, and by the time I got home it was like really bad, like a grinding noise. So let's see what's wrong with it. Can't hear anything now. Huh. I'm pretty sure I could hear it from this side. Okay, I did some research, and luckily, well, luckily for me and unluckily for other people, I'm not the only one with the same problem, and there's a lot of information on the internet about this problem, and it is not from the hub. I think it is from what they call IWE, which stands for, if I'm not mistaken, integrated wheel end, which is part of the hub here, and it's vacuum operated, and what it does is engages and disengages the wheel to the axle. When the vehicle is in two-wheel drive, the IWE should disconnect the wheel from the axle, which in this situation now the vehicle is in two-wheel drive and they should be disconnected, but they're not. So how it works, it's a little bit counterintuitive when there is vacuum applied, and these are the vacuum lines here, right here. I don't know if you see them here. So these are the vacuum lines right here, and when there's vacuum, the IWE disengages. When there's no vacuum, the IWE is spring-loaded and it engages, and then the vehicle is in four-wheel drive. So even when the engine is off, there's a vacuum reservoir and vacuum solenoid in the engine bay that I haven't checked yet. The whole system should be under vacuum, and this still should be disengaged. So the easy way to check that, I hope, is by disconnecting these hoses. If I hear the system sucking air right away, this means that it was under vacuum. And if it was under vacuum and it was still engaged, this means that our IWE is bad. Or when I disconnect it and there's absolutely no noise, air doesn't go in, this means that there was no vacuum applied to the IWE, and then we should look for the problem into the vacuum system. So let's try and disconnect them and see what's gonna happen. So there are two hoses here. There's a little one, which is just a vent, and then the big one is the actual vacuum line. So let's try and disconnect them and listen. That's not very easy to do though. Okay, I didn't hear anything. So you know what, let me start the vehicle and see if there's vacuum here or not. So now, because the engine is running and the vehicle is in two-wheel drive, there should be vacuum here. I should feel it. It should suck my finger, but it doesn't. So we should look for the problem somewhere else. It's not here, it's not in the hub. Alright, I think I figured out how it works. I still don't know what the problem is, but I know how it works, so that's a start. So I followed the lines and I found all the components of the system, so I'm gonna show you now. So this is our vacuum line, and as you can see here, there are two lines. One of them is just a vent. It terminates somewhere. I'll show you where when we get there. So these two lines keep going up here. So this is the line here, the one on the back, keeps going this way, then goes this way. I opened it here to see there are three lines here now. All of a sudden we gained another line, and this another line that we gained here is this one that hooks up together with them, and that's actually going up to the servo. Let me show you. So this is our third line. So this is where our main vacuum comes from the servo. So let's keep going there. So as you can see, these three lines, one of them ends here. I thought it was disconnected and I thought that was my problem, but It's not, it's just a vent. So that's normal. So from here we only have two lines now going down this way and then going across the whole vehicle underneath. I'm gonna show you that as well. So here, and then they come here, and now you can see here we only have two lines, and that's normal, like we said, because one terminated up there, and then they keep going. Here I have some leak. We have to figure out what this leak is, but that's a different story. Then from here they go up two lines, right? And I'll show you now the rest. Okay, so this is where the two lines come. These are the two lines. What we didn't see though is that here, right here, there's one of the two lines has a T, and it splits off and goes to the other wheel. That's the passenger side wheel. And then there's another, again, there's two lines inside though, because that's the one that feeds the vehicle with vacuum, and then it has another one that's disconnected here. That's again the vent for this wheel. So this line just tees off one of the two that we followed, and here you can see there are two lines only. So what they do is one of them goes here, the other one goes here, right? And this is like a hub, because this one, the one on the right, splits in two, and one goes to this, which this is our vacuum reservoir, and the other one goes into our solenoid. This is the solenoid. Normally it is clipped here. I unclipped it so I can see it better. So this one is our main vacuum, splitting in two here. One goes to the solenoid, one goes to the reservoir, and that's the output of the solenoid. When we talk about vacuum, it's actually the opposite, because vacuum doesn't create pressure, it creates vacuum. So it should be called input probably, I guess, but just so we can figure it out easier, we're gonna call it output. So this goes out, and through this it goes down, and this is our other hose connected to the output of the solenoid. The thing is, I didn't see check valve anywhere, so I don't know how that works when the vehicle is not running. But anyways, so that's all the components, and I want to put it on paper to make it a little bit more clear in my head, and hopefully for you also it's going to be easier to understand. Where should we start? Let's say this is our servo, and from our servo we said we have one line going all the way around the vehicle, feeding our vacuum reservoir, and we said this hose splits in two and feeds also our solenoid. Then from the solenoid there's another line coming out and tees off here to our let's call this the passenger side, IWE, and from here we have just a vent going out, right? And here where this line tees off, we have another line going back to our driver's side, IWE, and we have another line here coming out, which is our vent. Yeah, now it's a little bit more clear to me. I'm sorry for the ugly drawing, but it is what it is. Of course, the servo has this plug here with two wires going somewhere, and we have permanent vacuum applied here on this line, which puts our vacuum reservoir under vacuum and also our solenoid. So up to here, this is always under vacuum when the engine is running. So when we're in two-wheel drive, the solenoid actuates and opens a valve here, internal valve, which connects this line to this line, and then we have vacuum also to the passenger side IWE and also to the driver side IWE. When we put in four-wheel drive, then this solenoid disengages, and now we don't have vacuum going to the passenger side IWE and to the driver side IWE. And as soon as there's no vacuum anymore, the spring engages the IWE, and now our wheel is connected to the axle. That's in general how it works, I believe. Now we should start troubleshooting it. So we already know that there was no vacuum here. So next thing to check is probably we should go to the solenoid and see if there's vacuum applied here. If we disconnect this line here, we should be able to see when the engine is running and it's in two-wheel drive, there should be vacuum here on the solenoid side. If there's no vacuum there, then we should see on the other side if there's vacuum here. If there's vacuum here, then this means that the solenoid is not working and we should troubleshoot the actual solenoid or the power coming to it. For what we know, it might be just a simple fuse somewhere, but we shall see. So let's go and check if there's vacuum on the solenoid side. Okay, so I disconnected only the output of the solenoid, the side that goes to the two IWEs, and I can definitely feel that there's vacuum there. I don't know if you're gonna hear it, but when I pull out my fingers, you can hear the air going in. So what that tells us is that the system operates okay until the solenoid. So what that tells us is that we have vacuum from here. We have vacuum in the vacuum reservoir, and we have vacuum inside the solenoid, and the solenoid is opening this internal valve, and we have vacuum here on the solenoid side. So obviously our problem is somewhere in the rest of the system, on this line that goes between the two wheels. So we have to see, probably we have a leak somewhere here. All right, what I did is I reduced the pressure on my air hose from the compressor to like very minimum. It barely blows anything. And now when I blow inside the hose, I can hear it coming out from somewhere. I can hear the air escaping from somewhere, but the thing is I need to go and physically check. So what I'm gonna do is here with some Gorilla Tape, I'm gonna do my redneckish device. I'm gonna make them stay together. Press this down. Okay. Do you see it? Anyway, now I can go on a hunt. It kept losing air from here, so I had to put a zip tie. This works better now. And if you can hear it, it's coming out now. So I followed it. And the first leak that I found was actually from the actuator. It was actually leaking from the actuator, so I think it's normal when you blow back. So anyways, we're gonna figure this out, but I disconnected it completely and I just shoved a screwdriver here to block this line, and now we can still hear it. Now it is leaking from here somewhere, from this is the passenger side IWE, and it's leaking from here. Again, I don't know if that's normal. Maybe it has a non-return valve, so when you create the vacuum it closes, but when you blow in it, it might actually open. So I'm not sure if that's normal. So for this reason, what we're gonna do is we're gonna disconnect this line and we're gonna apply the air on this side, and we're gonna hook up the other side, the driver's side, and see if air blows through that one too. Okay, so now we applied air from this side, and there's absolutely no air coming this way. It leaks here around the holes a little bit, but there's nothing on the actual IWE. On the other one, the air was coming from here. somewhere here. So obviously our IWE on the other side is bad. And just to double check this, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect this hose from here. That's the hose from the wheel, from the driver's side IWE, and I'm gonna disconnect this main hose from here, the main hose of the vacuum, and I'm gonna connect it directly to here, and we will see if this disengages. All right, so this is connected directly to this hose and connected to the wheel, and now our wheel is spinning freely without spinning the axle. So obviously this IWE is good. I'm trying to figure out a way to test the other one. When I turn the engine off, the line is still connected, but there's no more vacuum in it, and now the axle is connected again. So I would really like to find a way to test the other one too before I order a new one. Okay, here's another test that we can do. I just plugged this line. This is the end that normally plugs to the IWE. I unplugged it from the IWE and I shoved my screwdriver in to block it. Here everything is connected, it should be. All the lines are plugged into the solenoid. The solenoid is clipped where it belongs. The main vacuum is plugged in here. And here too, everything is plugged as it was. So the main vacuum goes and feeds the tank, the reservoir, and this is plugged back in as it was supposed to be, and this end is plugged into the wheel and into the IWE. So in theory, if we start the engine now, it's gonna build up vacuum and this wheel is gonna disengage because we are in two-wheel drive. Let's see. So it's still engaged, and there you go. Now it disengaged. If we unplug it, yeah, I can feel vacuum now. Now it is engaged again. Let's plug it in again. There you go. So we figured out our problem. The problem is the IWE on the other side is losing vacuum, so we need to replace it. All right, so it's the next day and I flipped the truck because we have to work on this wheel, right? So I also got the part, and it was pretty cheap actually, $70 something out of Amazon. So we're gonna attempt to change it. It's not a very easy process, it's annoying. So we have to remove the ball joint, we have to remove the tie rod ends. It's not gonna be very easy, I guess, but we will see that. All right, so obviously we have the wheel off, and now what we have to do is we have to disconnect the ball joint, the tie rod end, and there's a nut here at the end of the axle, so we can pull out the whole vertical link, I think it's called, and then at the back there is the IWE that we need to change. So I guess that's gonna be fun. These are pretty new actually, because there's a lift kit installed on this truck just before I bought it. I bought it like 6-7 months ago, and when I got it, these were pretty new. They were not rusted at all, so I'm assuming they're still good. I have a tool for this, but it's not here, it's at work. So I'm gonna have to figure out another way. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my jack. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure here, so that should be helpful. Of course, I hit the threads. That's what I was afraid of. There you go. So that's out. We're gonna have to fix those threads before we put it back in, because we're gonna have troubles that we're gonna do later. Have to remove this cap, and there's a nut there. Okay, let me try and remove this cap without removing the spacer. That would be nice. There you go. I'm going to support it with the jack a little bit. Now I can remove this nut. Looks like this is spring loaded, which it isn't, but there you go. Okay. Let's see if we can get rid of the axle. Yeah. Perfect. So here's our IWE. It looks like it's all ripped. We're gonna take a closer look at it once we take it out. So there are a few screws here, 1, 2, 3, I believe, and it should come loose. The new one even comes with screws. There you go. There's a whole chunk of it missing. You see? So here is my hole, I guess. But here, I guess how it works is this. You see how this travels in and out? This is the ring gear that meshes with this. So when there's no vacuum, the two gears are meshed through this ring gear, and when there's vacuum applied, this pulls it like this, and then this ring gear stays only on this part and it's not meshed with this one anymore. So that's how it works. Now we're gonna have to clean everything very well here, grease it. The new part comes with grease, so we're gonna grease it, we're gonna install it, and we're gonna be done. This is the new part, and it looks like I wasn't missing a chunk, because this one is also like this. So it comes pre-greased, but they also send me grease. I guess it is for the rest of the housing here. We should grease it pretty well. Okay, and it goes with the input and output up like this, right? It also came with its own screws, so we're gonna use this, and we're gonna put the old ones in our miscellaneous. And put some grease on the needle bearing as well, that rides on this shaft. Pretty heavy. I hope you see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna use the jack to help me lift it up, because now this you don't see, so I'm gonna put you a little bit further so you can see. That's hard. Make this a little bit higher. All right. Ooh. All right, so it looks like this is an M14x2 thread. So we found the proper die. And the vacuum hose is plugged in. So now the axle is connected because we don't have vacuum in the system, of course. But if we start the engine, vacuum should build up and the axle should get disconnected because we are in 2x4 right now. The moment of truth. Oh, there you go. Okay, so it needed to build some vacuum, or maybe it just needed a little help so the gears can disengage. Let me try. There you go. Now we disconnected the vacuum and now they engaged again. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. I hope, yeah. There you go. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time to disengage. Yeah, so let me try and put it in 4-wheel drive and see if that's gonna work as it should, not by disconnecting the vacuum. Okay, so now we are in 4-wheel drive, so our vacuum line is still connected, but we should be engaged now. There you go. Actually, now it is in park, so I can't really move it any more than that. Okay, let me put it in 2-wheel drive again. Okay, 2-wheel drive again. There you go. So now we are back to normal. So that's gonna be everything for today, guys. I hope that we learned something together, how to troubleshoot this system. I didn't know what I was doing before I got it, and now I know pretty much how the vacuum system works and how 4x4 works on these trucks. So that's pretty good. I learned something new today, and I hope that that's helpful for some of you as well, that who didn't know like me, and now they know how it works. And if you have this problem with your truck, you know how to solve it. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting and subscribing. And if you're into vintage cars, you can check my other videos on my channel. I restore British cars, Triumphs actually, and I have multiple playlists on my channel. Check them out. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.